All right, it's Monday, September 15th, regular session of the Board of Supervisors. The first item on the agenda is the agenda itself and the minutes of September 8th.
Move to approve agenda and minutes.
Motion second to approve is presented. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Public comment. New business, Mr. Auditor.
Claims are prepared in front of you. Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the claims as presented. Any further comment there? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Any payroll?
We have the warrant register for period ending 9/6/2025.
Move to approve payroll. Second.
Motion is second. Approve the payroll is presented. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Any drainage?
No drainage today, sir.
Okay, item number 4 is a motion to approve the clerk's monthly report of fees.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the clerk's fees is presented. Any further comment there? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 5 is pretty much from the city of Plymouth, I believe. Heather, you want to comment on that or not? Or not?
Nope, I'm not clear with that one.
For the county treasurer's recommendation, I would move to approve item number 5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 5 in regards to taxes. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 6 is authorize the chair to sign a memorandum of understanding for the Clear Lake Water Clerk project.
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve item 6 is presented. Any further comment
I
on
would
that?
just comment that this is something we addressed previously in board staff and just said if it came to this, we would commit to working with the other entities. So,
Yes, it's exactly what we agreed to before. So.
Yep. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 7 will stay on the Prairie Ridge and methadone. Carl, you want to start that or not?
I'll just turn it over to Shea. She's requesting the possibility of more opioid funds for the MAP project.
I'll pass out some numbers here. So, as you all know, we very much appreciate you approving the $54,319 previously. And then I've spoken to all the board of supervisors in the surrounding counties that we discussed because our clinic will be serving surrounding counties. 2 counties, Kossuth and Winnebago, did not vote to approve dollars, and the reasons they gave was because of distance away from Mason City. That they said that if we were to develop a clinic either at their location or do some kind of a mobile clinic, that they would be interested in approving funds for that. But right now we wanted to just launch it in Mason City before we start trying to expand.
So what do they use in Winnebago and Kossuth?
They would, I mean, those patients would still inevitably probably come here. We'd still be the closest clinic. They just felt like it wasn't good access. And I understand their concern because a lot of the patients are going to have limited resources to travel this far. And I think they're wanting us to make it an effort to get to those counties. And again, it's something we would like to do long-term, but this has been a lift here in and of itself right here in Mason City. So just not on the table for now to do that. So why I came back today was because we had the discussion of, we'll start with asking these counties and then come back to Mason City if we had some additional dollars that didn't quite cover everything. And I wanted to give you an update too with just where we're at. So we've had the DEA on site. They came a few weeks ago. They approved of everything they've seen so far on site. They tested our alarm system. They went through all of our documentation. Now they can't final approve until it's called the CSA, the Certificate of Substance Use Agreement, and that gets approved through the Board of Pharmacy. And we have a pharmacist that's on site tomorrow or Wednesday at 10 a.m. We have a Board of Pharmacy person. And so once the CSA is approved, then the DEA can get approved. And once the DEA is approved, we can get the approval from the state for the state licensing, and then we'll be ready to get started. So we're nearing the end of this. And so we're hoping again that we'll have this up in the next month or two, but these steps just take time to get people on site and do the inspection. So
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Did you anticipate this was going to be the normal timeline?
no,
Okay. I had a few people inquired with me and, I know after the build out, we came and saw it and,
Yeah. So really what we waited on was, when we submitted everything to the DEA back in April, and we were told anecdotally by people who had gone through this process, it takes a couple weeks. My understanding is the DEA staff there's not as many staff for the DEA. The federal government has limited the staffing of the DEA. And so it took 3.5 months to get the DEA on site. And once we can't do anything until the DEA is on site to do the inspection. And so that's the part I called them every week for a while to ask them when they'd be on site. And I was told that they had thousands of applications to process and to stop calling, and that they would let us know when they could be on site. And they did. They came in August. And I think they just had a lot to process to get through all of the applications there. So unfortunately, these are the things that were just out of our control that we really couldn't foresee at the time that we talked to the community. And we've built up a list now of patients who want to get started. We have at least 10 I know that are like ready to start as soon as we're open. And I think more that will follow. We're just waiting on these approvals to take place. So no, what we kept telling people is probably a month from now, but this DA process just took longer than anticipated.
Sure.
So I'm coming back today just to let you know what we had anticipated for costs would be $155,000, and that's what we had divided per capita by all the counties that we talked to. The actual cost ended up being $170,429.14. Some things that cost extra. There was something that had to change with the alarm system. There was an additional expenditure, and then the glass. The original glass that we were having put in between the dispensing and the patient was only going to be half, so that it would be pretty open, but we had to change it because it has to be you can't have someone able to crawl through it. So we had to change the glass, which added some expense. So I added the actual, the figures of what the money comes from is the second part of what I handed you. So you can see what is actually the dollar amounts for the things that we had to pay for. So
The security is pretty high.
it's a lot of security. We have to have, I forget the number of cameras right now off the top of my head, but there's interior cameras, exterior cameras, and then they all have to be able to keep it for at least 30 days and then libraried, keep it where we can access it for 30 days and then it's libraried for at least a year. And then every system has to have a backup. And so when the DEA came, they actually wanted to check through. So we have our Prairie Ridge already has a generator backup, but this has to have an additional backup. And then if the backups go out, you have to have a way to dispense with no electricity too. So it's foolproof.
What's the acronym CARF?
That is who accredits Prairie Ridge. It stands for something I can't recall at the moment. But it's our accreditors. So they're the people that come in and do the accreditation of Prairie Ridge already, but they're the people who will accredit the opioid treatment program. You always have to ask one question. I can't. I can get back to you on that.
So Hancock and Worth are still committed.
Yeah, everyone else has committed except for Cassuth and Winnebago.
Okay, because I saw that you received, but you haven't received from Hancock and Worth, but they have committed.
Yeah. And I think Worth did actually send it just like last week or something.
Chris, it's the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities.
Thank you.
3 times quick.
I should know that.
Well, no, I mean, it's a mouthful. I've seen CARF on a bunch of non-for-profits and stuff like that.
So the reason you're doing this clinic is to treat people in North Iowa, obviously, but it was a requirement though?
Yes, yeah, so because we're now a certified community behavioral health clinic, that's the designation from the state that we have. And that's what all of the community mental health centers have sort of been moved to, is the CCBHCs. We follow all the federal requirements of a CCBHC, but then the state of Iowa can add additional requirements to that. And so in our state, the governor added the requirement that we had to have a methadone clinic within 60 miles of any patient of our CCBHC. And that's where we had tried to get another clinic from Des Moines to come and be on site, but not do it ourselves. But that's the clinic that backed out kind of last minute because they didn't think it was going to be profitable when they did their profit analysis, just because the rurality of our location, that they didn't think they'd be at the number to make a profit turn. And so when they ended up saying they couldn't be partners on site for us, we had to find some way to have methadone offered because of that state regulation. And so that's where we've moved to do it ourselves. So that's where these costs.
Excuse me.
The work to be able to offer a methadone clinic so that we have it within 60 miles of all of the patients in our area.
What you're requesting is opioid funds, not tax money.
Correct. Opioid dollars. And the actual amount here then is the $47,410. And I just thought I would make the request for the full amount, that would close the gap between the money that we've spent and the money we did not receive between this and the other counties who have provided funding. But again, if we would be grateful for any dollar amount. So if it wasn't the case that we didn't have the $47,410 for opioid settlement funds, we'd be grateful for any amount that would help close that gap. And we would certainly still open the clinic regardless of any amount received.
Are you asking the other counties also?
I haven't at this time circled back with the other counties. The majority of that cost is obviously the Kossuth Winnebago not buying into it. And I thought I would start here similarly to how we started here before, and you all had the idea to break it up per capita. So we can certainly do that.
Where are we at? Funding. Like, I mean, just general terms of opioid, I just don't. I know I have it, but like, we've got more than enough, correct?
Right, we ended this last year with 600,000. And after the community response team expenditure that we plan, we should have 400,000.
So in lieu of that, I would support funding the entire amount personally, because of all the things we're spending money on, I feel like this could have the biggest impact in Cerro Gordo County. Not that I disagree with the other stuff that the health department has been administering with these programs, but I think it significantly moves the needle. And I think you guys have put a lot of effort in. And as much as I'd love you to go to every county and pass the hat again, I mean, I want you guys, my preference, if we have the money and it's not taxpayer funding, would just, let's just get it done and have you guys do what you do. And I know you're not in the fundraising business. You're trying to help people.
Reading the MOU with the state on how we can spend the opioid funds, this is exactly what it was meant for. So I support it also.
And so do I. Just for knowledge, Joe, I know Blackhawk was or is. Where's the next closest one other than Mason City?
Ames has, or Ames Des Moines area, somewhere in there. I'm not sure if it's Ames directly. It might be Des Moines. I know there's a couple of clinics in Des Moines. BHG is the biggest clinic in Des Moines, and UCS. I don't know if you all know. Look it up.
Des Moines is the one that I've heard most people.
Yes, I know Des Moines is the one that when we've had residential patients who have been in methadone, we have Des Moines clinics will bring the methadone to us. So I think it's Des Moines and Waterloo would be our two closest options.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to fund the $47,410.61.
And I would second that.
Motion and a second to the expense as presented on the methadone clinic out of the opioid funds. Any further? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Passes. Brandon.
Yes, good morning. I thought I'd start off with I guess a bigger project going on right now is we're installing a 72 inch. I call it squash pipe. It's kind of an oval shape. It's not round on Falls Park Drive. That's a pretty big project. Now going down Falls Park Drive, there's a series of 8 projects we're gonna do. That road's been a drainage nightmare for a long time. There's no ditch on one side. There's the river on the other side. So getting water from one side to the other has always been an issue. That road has lots of ponding and other stuff. So we're planning to go along there, and there's going to be, I'm not sure we'll get it all done this fall, but we're going to start chopping away at it and seeing what we can do to get secondary ditches in there to help direct water to the crossroad tubes we already have in existence. I don't really want to add additional ones if possible. So we're going to try and work with what we have and just grade the ditches to make their way there. Some of them might be slow, but it's going to be better than what we have out there now. The grader guys are going around countywide. I call them the gravel roads have curbs that retain water during rains, and it leaves soft spots. It leads to runoff on roads where it washes gravel. The graders, as they go, they're chopping those off. We're making progress, but we have 800 miles of gravel, and I bet we have 500 miles of them with those curbs. And what that's from is just repeated grading over the years. The guys, as they fix the cross slope on the road, end up inevitably causing a ditch on the shoulder where the grass line is. And the graders don't like cutting the grass off because it makes a mess in the road and causes complaints. And it's just a lot more work out there that ends up inevitably getting people angry at us. But it's gotten to a point now we don't have a choice. We're going to be cutting those off. So you'll see a lot more grass in the roadways, a lot more dirt that they're mixing in. But that's our efforts to cut those curbs off because it's a pretty system-wide problem we have. So the guys are working towards that. It's gonna be a multi-year thing to get these out of there, but I told them it's just time to start making progress. So that's something that you might hear about. Other than that, there's a bunch of grading, ditch cleaning, tile work that's going on. There's a small amount of graveling of our annual graveling that's getting finished up down in the Rockwell territories. And then we're doing trading for our new grader down there. So just a lot of our regular day-to-day work going on. On top of that, we've decided we have right now sitting in our, we call it our auction lane. So it's all the stuff that we just sell off. We have a grader, we have 3 vehicles, a mower tractor that has all the mower equipment on it went bad and the mower itself's not in the greatest shape, so we're gonna get rid of that. We have 2 dump trucks, 2 trailers, and our dozer just got checked out and it needs a $30-some or $40,000-some pump at a minimum to get that thing working correctly again, which means by the time we get it back, it's probably gonna be $50,000 because there's always other things broken. That bulldozer is now worth $50,000. So we are going to sell that off in the auction as well. We do have a dozer blade on the front of our Rockwell skid loader, which does 95% of what we need it to do. The only thing it doesn't do really well is push dirt through the big box culverts. And we have other methods to solve those issues. So at this point, I'm going to get rid of that dozer instead of investing any more money into it. I mean, we just went through and replaced sprockets and a whole bunch of stuff on the drive line to try and fix this issue, which we didn't know was an issue at the time. So I'm just going to pull the plug on that and get rid of it. In the future, I might want to get one back, but right now we're just going to try and do the work without that in the fleet and see if we actually need it or if it's just was used because we had it. So yeah, we have one of our new dump trucks that just got back. It has this fancy digital control for hydraulics. It decided to become stone dead last week. So we have the technicians there trying to figure out what the heck went wrong. We've had that unit before, never had issues with it, and it's actually very reliable most of the time. So we're hoping there was some kind of installation error that caused that to happen. So we'll have
Anything that still works?
Yeah, it was a bad Monday at the foreman meeting is what I'll say. Yeah, the excavators are out there, so that's good. Good. We're having the pre-construction meeting for that culvert on Finch, which is a culvert directly adjacent to the interstate. That's tomorrow. The contractor's moving in today. We asked for an update on the production of the culverts, which is why they haven't moved into this point, but today is their late start date, so they kind of got to make progress on the project. I'm hoping that means they got good news on the progress of the boxes being delivered to them, because I really don't want them to open the road and have it just open for 2 months while we wait for boxes to arrive. So we'll find out tomorrow the exact schedule that they'll have, and I'll update you guys next week on that one. Other than that, I guess I don't have anything specific for you unless you guys have some questions for me.
When you're talking about equipment, I don't know what you call them, but pause for like the trees.
Yeah, the grapples.
Did you look at investing in one of those?
We don't own one yet, but I did get pricing on them so that I can plan that into our new equipment budget. Yeah, we will own them a year from now. I'm just not sure at what point in the year we're gonna end up getting it.
Anything on demolition?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one. I have the bids out to all the contractors that are on Mason City's licensed contractor list that are within the county. I think there was 4 of them I sent them out to. I asked for those bids to be back to us by the 26th of this month to give them about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks to look through the building and get a good price for us. As soon as that is done and I have a contractor on board, I can go through the historical review procedure with the city to make sure that building doesn't count as a historical building or historical place we have to do anything with. And after that's over with, I can apply for the demolition permit. Once I get that, I can allow them to actually do the demolition. So we're making progress. It's just slow.
And when you were talking about the grass on the side of the roads, so by cutting that, just so I understand, so when they, in the future grade, are we gonna have the issue with thanks from people as far as rocking the ditches again?
For the first year after you cut the shoulders off, there'll be more, well, it's kind of a catch-22. So the gravel will be in a ditch the same way as it is now, but it'll be in less focused spots. So right now it runs along that curve on the edge of the road until it gets to a spot where it overflows into a ditch, and usually there's a bunch of gravel in those spots at that point. Well, now it's just gonna be, if there's a heavy enough rain that can wash the rocks off the road, then they'll be washed off. It should be less rock in general, and it should be less focused, so it won't be as noticeable. The times you'll still get a lot of heavy complaints are when somebody does winging in the winter time and they pick up gravel with the wing or the snow moving equipment. Those will be the unavoidable ones.
And my last one was, safety funding. How often does that occur in regards to that? Went by it again the other day, had another call on it in Plymouth, over the,
Yeah, we apply every year for it. So it's coming up for this year's in November is when we apply for that. Then we should hear in December whether we'll have safety funds for next year. But either way, that project is in the 5-year plan and will be done one way or another.
like that rail, it's a little bit further out each time.
Yeah, we got to stabilize that slope and build that out a bit to help prevent that in the future.
Anything else? Carl? All right, Brandon, item number 9 on the DOT.
Yep, so we got our annual report balanced. We came in under what my budgeted amounts were. Towards the middle end of the fiscal year, our office manager was out for a good portion, so I wasn't getting monthly reports as fast as I needed to because she was out. So I was uncomfortable, so I kind of stopped spending money in general as much as I could, which, I mean, I still obviously spent a bunch. And we ended up under budget significantly last year from where I thought we would be, even spending, just because I was being pretty conservative on what I spent when I wasn't here. Our 3 of our 4 service areas, we came in under budget. We did go over by $80,000 in our general roadway expenditures, which is fine because all our other service areas were under budget and our overall budget was way under. So it's nothing that's going to be trouble. It's just, there was some unexpected costs for equipment repairs. And some of our repairs cost us, $2,500, $1,000 to replace something that was $100 for the part. So I bought a $6,000 computer that can scan the majority of our equipment. And it also walks through our mechanics through repairs that they weren't previously able to do. And it helps us do some programming that normally was only accessible at the dealerships. So that went in there also, and that's already, the amount of times it's used, it paid for itself. So I think, I'm hoping that this next year that area will be more under control. Bunch of those, $1,000 here, $2,000 there, repairs will be just a few $100s instead.
Staying under budget like you were on most of those line items, does that just push expenses into the next year? Or do you think that is just money saved?
It was a little bit of both. There was stuff I pushed till this year just because I knew that after the annual report, I'll know exactly where we're at. The other part of this is around Rockwell, there's about 5 or 6 really irritating, I call them bridges, but they're actually classified as culverts that restrict farmers' movements around. There's 3 real small ones and then 3 big ones that we're actually writing up internal plans to replace with some of the money that was left over, not left over, but I'm probably going to ask you guys to do a bunch of them towards the end of the year, as I do most years. And this work would be in that, and it'll take up most of the under budget. I mean, there was about $600,000 that I came in under budget, but I was planning to expend last year that I didn't, that I'm going to expend with these culverts. This would be my plan.
Are they replacements or extensions?
They're replacements. They're structures that just need to not exist anymore.
Or so we can do extensions on that, some of the old narrow bridges where the farmers got to go fight.
Yeah, that's what all of these are. All 6 of these are ones of those that have really been severely inconvenient for any person driving a piece of farm equipment or an oversized anything. So yeah, that's what we're focusing on, is trying to get those out of the way. So I'll come to you guys with that when that's more squared away and planned out. But yeah, I'm saying it's stuff that I did plan. Now our cash carryover is higher right now because we have a $3.5 million federal aid project coming up that, depending on how DOT runs the paperwork, I might have to pay for it and then they reimburse us. So I have to have enough money in our account to fund that project ahead of time. So we have a significant cash carryover at the moment, but it's also tied into projects and various other things that I gotta keep on hand.
One more question for you, because I noticed that.
Yeah.
As far as the surplus, salt and sand and pretty well stockpiled for the year
Yeah, we're,
going into it.
we still contracted the DOT for about, 300 tons of salt again, which is under what we normally do, but that's because we have a whole bunch on hand. So we don't want to be too overfull to the point where we have to have it delivered and just stockpile it outside. I'd rather keep it covered. So yeah, we're sitting pretty good with that. Our blades surplus is pretty good. We had to buy some more carbides, which is what we use to grind ice down. We haven't bought those for a few years, so I think we're doing pretty good.
Hopefully you don't have to use.
Yeah, I hate chasing ice, of everything.
Don?
Motion to approve report as presented.
Accept the annual report.
Motion and a second to approve and accept the DOT annual report as presented. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 10 and 11, maybe we can do together. That looked like there was no significant, there was no increase in.
Move to approve as presented.
Motion and a second to approve the 2 manure management reports as presented and forward on to the DNR. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence communications.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 10:26. Thank you.